Hey guys, sorry, my YouTube was not recognizing my camera. It was like, we can't find your camera. I'm like, it's the same web camera you guys use every time. Welcome, guys. I'm so thrilled to have you guys here. We're talking about this is for the men about how to command respect from women. Like, what are the requirements if you really want a woman to respect you? What are the requirements? And that's a great question to begin with. Like, are there even requirements? And the answer is yes. So we're going to first talk about like why are there even requirements? And then towards the end of the video, we're going to talk about what those requirements are. So it's really interesting. I talked about this yesterday, but we ran a poll with you guys, and we were asking, where you are in your boundaries, just getting a clear picture. And a lot of you said that, when it came to people actually respecting you, like that was a challenge for you, that you felt like you were disrespected. So, um, especially in relationships for men, being respected by a woman is really, really, really important to a man. And women want to be respected equally, but today we're going to talk about for men. So also, and we've been talking a lot about boundaries, which we're going to talk about that. But for those of you who are unaware, I just released a new boundaries program, and I've just put it there. You can have access to it there. I also released a boundaries Bible to teach you what to say to help get better respect. And you will get a discount with that for that when you get the boundaries program. So be sure to check that out. All right. So let's just talk about why there has to be requirements for being respected. I'll never forget. I used to run this application. If I think this is how the story goes. You guys like my story, so we're gonna tell a story, and it's about the whole theme of why there are requirements to be respected. And I'll never forget. If I remember this story correctly, I used to do this application process. Whereas if you wanted to work with me, you had to go through an application. And there was this guy that was interested in coaching with me, and I'll never forget his attitude. And he was like, my woman should just respect me. And I challenged him on that. And I said, your woman should just respect you. And I said, here's gonna be a reality check for your life. Uh, Respect is earned, it's never given. It would be good for all of our egos if people just automatically respected us. But in the land of reality, that is not a reality. That when it comes to getting respect from someone, it is something that you earn. And you earn it through your character. You earn it through being a person who says what they're going to do and they follow through with that. You earn it by respecting yourself. Now I'm jumping ahead of myself, but to his point, he was just like, I just feel like a woman should just respect me. And I think that when you go through life just thinking that that's how it's going to be, that you're really setting yourself up for disappointment. You're setting yourself up for very unrealistic expectations that no one will ever meet, unless you just want someone that you can walk all over. Um, but even then, it's not respect. It's actually just fear. But if you were to go and some people are like, well, that's good. I'm okay with people fearing me. Yeah, but below that fear, it's actually not respect, which is what you would really want as a strong person. Instead of instead of respect, you get fear, and underneath fear is typically resentment. And so men who have this idea that a woman should just respect them, and they get with someone who's like a damsel in distress, someone who's weak, someone who doesn't have a backbone, and they do everything that he wants, and he thinks, ah, she respects me. She doesn't respect you. She actually fears you. And underneath that fear is resentment. So let's just be very clear that if we want to be respected, that there are certain requirements that we have to meet. So let's just all get clear on that, that no one is ever going to just give us this. And it's the same for women, it's the same for men, it's the same for everyone. We have to meet those requirements for people to respect us. So we were talking about this yesterday, and one of the things that I really pointed out to, one of the worst things that a man can do that a woman finds like, this guy isn't someone I'm going to make as a high priority. I'm not going to make a lot of time for him. Definitely not going to have sex with him. Is a man who is overly available, meaning he doesn't have his own schedule. He doesn't have his own ambitions, things that he's pursuing. And so anytime she says, I want to do this and I want to do it right now, that he will stop his entire world at the drop of a hat to do what she wants. And it's like at the end of the day, a woman doesn't respect that. A lot of guys think that men, I'm going to bring something very clear to you. A lot of men think that women just want a man that they can control. That is not the case. Most of the time, when a woman wants to control a man, it's because she's afraid. But no one in their right mind wants to ever just control a human being. If you do, it's because somewhere you are afraid of something. But innately, like to respect a man has to have that sense of his own self. He has to have a sense of purpose. And in the pursuit of that, he doesn't just stop the whole world for her whenever she wants it. Listen, there's a time and a place to do that. Like if someone's in dire need, obviously. But if she is testing you to see if you have a backbone, and it's like you say, well, I'm going to go do this. And she says, like, I'm going to go golfing tomorrow with my friends. And she says, oh, well, I want you to come lay on the beach with me tomorrow. And you're like, but I told you a week ago that I was going golfing with my friends. Yeah, I know, but the sun's going to be out tomorrow. And so I want you to go to the beach with me. The guy who goes, okay, as opposed to just saying, you know what, babe, I appreciate that you want to do that. I tell you what, when I'm finished golfing, I'd be happy to go to the beach with you, but I'm still going to meet up with my friends. You see, and I think that men who demand respect, they would approach that differently. They would say, I'm going out with my boys and you can get over it. That's not the way to handle it either, because that doesn't get you respect. That's just a guy who doesn't know how to communicate. And so he's just throwing a bitch fit. And so that's not going to earn you respect. But to really earn a woman's respect, you can't always be available to her. She has to know that you have your own sense of purpose, that there are things in your life that you're doing to make yourself become a better man. And that's the other requirement, is that like here's the thing, especially now, people are becoming more and more aware of what um emotional well-being is, emotional health. Like we're becoming more conscious that, hey, maybe therapy isn't so far out there. Hey, maybe people have real mental illness like anxiety and depression and bipolar, this and that. We're becoming more aware of this. We as a society are starting to wake up. We're becoming more conscious. We're not like the Victorian era where they were just stuffing everything down. We're not like our parents, where our parents, they just stuffed all the emotions down and then they took it out on their children or they took it out on each other. No, we're becoming more conscious. So with that said, one of the requirements that you need to have, if you really want a woman to respect you, is by communicating to a woman that you're actually doing the work. What do we mean by doing the work? Like if you run around and coaching communities, there's almost a joke around that about doing the work. But essentially, women are becoming more conscious. And so with that, they go, I want a man who's doing the work. I don't want to be with a man that I have to fix, because I work very hard on myself to grow myself, to become more healthy, to become more vulnerable, to become more, real, authentic. And so that a woman's going to know that that obviously takes work because she's doing it. But now women are expecting that out of men. And when a man, I hear of women who say, now they want to ask the man, like, do you see a therapist? Do you see a coach? Who do you see? Because there's a real value for that. And when a man says, hey, I'm not afraid to look at myself, I'm not afraid to look at my shit, look at the dark corners of my closet, so to speak, the insides, but like I actively pursue that. I actively work through that. That's something that when you communicate that to a woman, it's something that in her mind automatically earns respect, because most people who do the work understand that it's not for weak people. It's not for the faint of heart. Like, you have to have real guts to be able to look at yourself on the inside. It's really easy to run away. It's very easy to distract yourself, to get busy and not look at those things. But for a woman, she understands that even though it's not easy, it's a necessity, especially in relationships. So if you're going to earn respect from a woman, you need to communicate to her, I'm doing the work. I'm not afraid to look at myself. I work with a coach. I work with a therapist. I look inside and I see where my shortcomings are, and I address them. I'm dealing with them. So if you really want a woman to respect you, we're talking about not always being overly available, like having the things that you're pursuing to make you better. The second thing is a man who does work. Why? Because women innately are doing the work. And here's the thing, like, if you really, really, really want a woman to respect you, she's got to be inspired by you. Like, I know that women, especially, as women become more independent, there is a unspoken message that women don't need men anymore, which I think is absolute horseshit. I think that women will always need men, and men will always need women. We will always need people. Like, that's never going to go away. Even if you do tons of work, there's always gonna be that interdependence that we as human beings are made to rely upon. But if you really want her to respect you, there has to be that sense of, I'm inspired by this man. This man makes me want to become a better version of myself. But if you're too weak to face yourself, you're never going to inspire her. And so when a man is facing himself, when he's doing his work, when he's out, testing his masculinity in the world, a woman can respect that. She can get on board with that. But if you're constantly running, um, I have to say, and I'm not going to call out every guy who lives in Bali, but there was kind of this, and I won't even say just men. I would say even women. But there was this sense of like Peter Pan in the air in Bali, and I remember just observing that and thinking like these like a lot of these guys are like little boys. Now, it's been nice to see like them all kind of go through an evolution, and I think that to be able to heal, you have to go through your like immature phase. You have to be with that, but you don't stay there. And so I think the beauty of, the guys who were boys in the making of becoming men have evolved and moved through that. But for a while, there were just bunches of Peter Pans there. And as a woman, a woman, I'm just gonna be super honest with you. You look at a guy like that, and if they're hot and they're good looking, you go, yeah, I want to have sex with him, but I'm never going to be inspired by this guy. I'm never going to take him seriously. And a woman's always going to secretly resent that. So if you're showing up in the world with this like Peter Pan energy where you're just lost and you're not being productive with your time, you're not being productive with your emotional health, you don't have goals and ambitions that you're aspiring to, inside she's secretly going to resent you, which means what? She's not going to respect you. So some of you may, if you're new to this, some of you may be watching this and you're like, is this does this stuff even work, Erica? And I'm gonna say that it does. And I won't show the picture because I haven't asked for permission, but I need to email this guy back. But he says it's I'll just show you that there is a picture there. I'm not going to show you the picture, but I just got this email last night and he says, "Hey, Arica Angelo, this is my wife. I married shortly after watching your videos. I do still watch them. I appreciate the energy and the passion you have for your coaching. We've been married for almost a year. I hope things are good with you. Sending you love." And so this stuff works. I mean, if you really are that guy, you're like, I want to find my wife. I want to be in a long-term relationship. Apply the things that I'm teaching you. Get the boundaries training program. Put it to practice today so that women can see that you're a man who trusts himself. He has boundaries. He doesn't tolerate disrespect. And then as you do that, she sees it in your character. Here's the thing. Looks, money, all these things, they're all fleeting. But what really merits respect and for someone to want to stick around with you is your character at the end of the day. And boundaries help us keep our character intact. They not first they help us establish it for one. Second, they help keep that character intact, help keep it in place so that when people come to test your character, to test you, your boundaries are going to go, you don't get to test that. This is how I am. This is who I am. And you're not going to move me. I'm just going to come to the chat section. Also, guys, I'm going to ask you, make sure that you hit the like button and also be sure to share these videos. Anytime you share my work, please tag me in it so that I can repost it. I would love to be able to repost that. Ninja Wolf is in the house. Hurricane Ian has made it to South Carolina. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I know I saw the videos of Florida and I'm just like, it's horrible. Did you guys see the McLaren that got washed up? I was like, oh man, hopefully that guy had insurance. But yeah, just what people are going through there is intense. Um, thank you, Ninja Wolf, for being here. I appreciate you. Nirvana, thank you. How are you? Look as good as you always do. Thank you. That's very kind. I appreciate it. Hey, Alan, glad you're here. Thomas, so glad you're here. I'm very proud of the progress you're making, Thomas. Uh, I like what Nirvana says. He says, not a true word said, respect is earned. Good on you, girl. It's true. Respect is earned. And let's just preface it by saying this. Respect goes both ways. This is a video that I'm pertaining to men. I'll do one for women, obviously, but I get so many guys who bitch in the comments and they're just like, what about a woman? What does she need to do? And maybe it's not obvious, and maybe that's something I should do a better job at expressing. But I just want to say, like, obviously this goes both ways. Like, it's not like women, I don't know who like have given some of these men this notion that women just lay around and eat grapes and powder their hoo-ha and then just go, I'm just waiting for a man to come and show me what he has, and then I may choose him when I very well please. Like, doesn't work that way. Like, a man who is of high value, guess what, is going to command high value from his woman. He's not going to let her just be this emotional idiot who's not responsible for herself and who has terrible boundaries and no ambition in life. Like, no high value man is going to respect a woman like that. So it does go both ways. Um, Seymour, I hope I'm saying your name right. Thank you for being here. You must be in Europe with me because you just said good evening, and some of these guys are in America. Hey, Bill Howard, glad you're here. Ricardo, the infamous BF. What do you mean by that? The infamous BF. It's so true. Thomas says that this relates to coworkers. I just say we'll get to you as soon as I can. It's absolutely true. This, what we're talking about respect, boundaries, every area of your life. Like, obviously, I keep saying obviously. On my channel, I talk about dating and relationships, so we normally use it in that context. But predominantly, when I teach about boundaries and people respecting you, this will translate into every area of your life, and 9 out of 10 times it does. Yeah, Thomas, you gotta have a life, man. Matt T says, Erica, I see what you're doing. I think this is a cleverly disguised lesson on respecting womankind. How long should a man wait? That's funny. No, I honestly believe that respect goes 2 ways. Like, I'm not into entitlement, and I don't think because you have a certain body part that you're entitled to anything. I think that everything is mutually inclusive, and that respect will always go both ways. Brandon says, Erica, I went on a date with this girl I met on Facebook dating. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Facebook is doing this dating thing. It was our first date. She had a lot of bad traits like texting and check came. Then she went to the bathroom and never came back. Oh, I hope that you are never going to entertain a second date with her. Please tell me no. Like, that's your boundary. That's you respecting yourself. Like, you let me just tell you guys, this is how you handle a mess like this when someone is just this blatantly disrespectful. You, Brandon, you send her a message on Facebook and you call her out. And I think, like, sometimes I wrestle with this because I'm pretty confrontational, and I think this is just my opinion. This is not like coming to you as an expert, but this is just my opinion with humankind. I think everyone is too non-confrontational, and I think that's why people keep showing up as assholes in the world. But I think if people were called out more, like, "Hey, you don't get to do that," um, people would become more conscious about how they're showing up. But because people want to protect their ego, they don't want to come across as crazy. They don't want to come across as combative. They come up with every reason why they should just let it go. I think this is why people keep showing up as assholes because there's no accountability there. I was just the other day, I was walking to the beach and there was this girl walking and she spoke English. So I don't know if she was American or what, but she was being so rude and so disrespectful, was talking on speakerphone outside walking and just being super loud and like the whole world wanted to be a part of her conversation. And I was going to the beach to just relax, have a glass of wine, let loose. And finally I just stopped walking and I did my hand like this, like, please proceed, walk ahead of me, because she was right behind me and I could hear her entire conversation. And she looked at me and she was like, kind of like giggling. She was like, oh, what? Why are you letting me pass? And I said, I don't want to continue to hear you talking. And she just went, like, she was shocked that I called her out for being so rude and so abrasive. And she goes, oh my God, what the hell? And I was like, you can what the hell all you want, but I don't have to hear your bullshit for the next 50 meters. So the hell with you, girl. Keep moving, keep walking. And so it's like people that I think that is something that I have to tell you, like when I was single and when I'd be on a date with a guy, when something disrespectful happened and a guy didn't handle it, oh, oh, ultimate turn off. Like when someone's blatantly being disrespectful and a man just lets that slide, I'm like, bleh, bleh. It was so gross because I know I would handle it, but I don't want to, like, when I'm back in those days when I was dating, and I was just like, you just let a person be them and see how they show up. And when he didn't show up that way and he didn't handle that, oh man, it was such a disappointment. It was such a letdown. It's like, oh, come on, man, grow some. So Brandon, in your situation, I would call this girl. I would send her a message and just say, listen, I found you immensely rude and disrespectful. The fact that I asked you out on a date and you chose to be on your phone the entire time, and then that you were cowardly and ran to the bathroom afterwards and didn't come back, was highly disrespectful. I will not be seeing you again, and I hope that you do better on your next date. There's nothing wrong with calling people out. And as you do that, you respect yourself more. And as you cultivate this habit of not tolerating bullshit like this, then the woman that is your woman, she's going to respect you for that. Do Thomas says, do women also have to inspire men, or is it just one way? I think men definitely want to be, and I think we all want to be inspired by people. I think that women are more inclined to become inspired by a man in terms of when you're first dating. Like there's more outwardly things that a man can do to inspire a woman. But I think as a man, the way that he's inspired by his woman, you'll hear men say this when they've been in a relationship. They'll say, she's made me become a better man. And that's typically because she's calling him out on his bullshit, and she's not letting him, continue being a boy essentially, or she's not, like, if there's some deficits with himself emotionally. Who just gave me a super chat? Orville Nation, thank you, darling. That is so kind. Thank you, thank you. Orville's always tweeting out my YouTube lives. He's so kind. Thank you, thank you. It's typically a man's inspired by, I believe, by a woman's character. It's the fact that, like, I think character inspires all of us human beings, but I think when he sees that she enhances his life, which I think for a man, it takes him time to see that. I don't think that men are necessarily as quickly inspired by women, unless she's just like a superwoman. Like I really like the couple, Amal and George Clooney, and it was like, everyone gave George Clooney shit for being the perpetual bachelor, but the reality was he just not met a woman that he was highly inspired by, and this woman is beautiful, but she's brilliant, and she's a human's right attorney, which she's got her boundaries intact, and so he was overly inspired by her, and so. Oh, who else gave me a super chat? You guys are so sweet. Bill, thank you. Thank you for the $10 super chat. I really appreciate that. Oh, that's really cute. I like the dinosaur with the hat. And then I'm looking at these emojis and the drop mic. That's so cool. Thank you guys for the super chats. I really appreciate it. This is just my personal opinion. I just saw that Orville just gave me a shout out. Thank you, darling. I think that for men, it typically takes them a little bit longer to be inspired by women. It's just my opinion, but I think it does have to go both ways for sure. Yes, and I agree with Thomas. Prayers to any of you guys dealing with a hurricane. May it cease, and may the insurance companies be swift to compensate you all. Matt says, all my married friends have wives like that. Yeah, I think in marriage, let's just be, I'll call this out. Like maybe there's a married person. I think that in married situations and I've been married before, so I can speak to this. I think in marriages, people get caught in the mundane, they get caught in routines. And so in routines, you're not as inspired by your partner. There's not a lot of adventure in the relationship. And so that transpires into complacency and how you guys show up for each other, intimately, emotionally, all those things. And so when there's complacency, I think that it also creates a fertile ground for resentment, in my personal opinion. So when a woman resents a man, she wants to control him because she doesn't feel safe with him. She doesn't respect him. She doesn't feel his strength anymore. So I think that is why wives start becoming controlling, because I don't even think it's about them wanting their husband to do everything. It's just they're not inspired by him, and they don't trust his leadership anymore. And so when a woman starts being controlling, it's because she's having to become the leader, and she's stepping into a role that she doesn't want to be in. Um, Mic drop on that. Brandon says, I paid the bill, then just walked home 4.5 miles. Oh, damn. Listen, you should definitely call her out on that. Um, uh, yeah, it's true. Thomas says, Thomas did my boundaries course, and he says that it relates to dealing with the general public. It absolutely does. It will 100% support you in that. Nirvana says, just be who you are. That's all you need to do. Stay true to yourself. Don't try to become something that you're not. I think to stay true to yourself takes a lot of courage. I think courage and boundaries is the way to stay true to yourself, because I think that people, the world, will often test who you are and test your character. And it's you showing up in a way that you don't betray yourself by having solid boundaries that helps you to stay true to yourself. But no, Ninja Wolf had a funny comment. He said, Facebook dating is like online dating, which I don't mess around with. Really? Wonder why. Um, Matt says, fantastic girl. Ooh, that's really good. This is a great question. Thomas says, crazy question. What if you are not an inspiring man? I think that we should get clarity on what inspiration means to you. Because, Thomas, for example, like you, I know you personally because, you've been a part um, of my boundaries program. And, the fact of where you come from and where you are now, like when you're on a date with a woman and you articulate that story to her, you tell her your quote unquote hero's journey of, I started off as being a people pleaser and my family took advantage of me. And now I started watching YouTube videos. This woman named Arica Angelo, I started watching her YouTube videos. I did her boundaries program. I did her emotional warriors program. And now at work, in my home life, like I just quit taking shit from people. And when you tell someone the story of where you were and what you've become, people recognize the courage. They see that hero's journey that you've been on. And that in itself is inspiring. So I think for you, Thomas, one thing that I would encourage you to do is for you to write a list of the things that you've accomplished, where you started and where you are now. And then as you look at that, you'll give yourself more credit and you'll see that you're far more inspiring than you realize. And listen, everyone like obviously has a very different definition, but like let's say if I were single and I met a man and he's like, "Oh, I own a Fortune 500 company," but then when I'm with him, he's a basket case. He's all over the place. He's not present with me. He is emotionally unhealthy. Like, I don't care what you're accomplishing in the world. You don't have your shit in order. Your house is in order, meaning this. So you're not inspiring to me. It's like, yeah, you've built something, but at the end of the day, you don't get to take that with you. Um, Nate says, "Be true to yourself if you know who you are." Many people don't. Yeah, I think that is the biggest journey is finding out who we are. Which is, if you've ever done my emotional warrior program, that is exactly what that walks you through. But yeah, the journey of knowing yourself, I think, is one of the biggest alchemist journeys we can ever go on. Guys, thank you so much for being here. We are going to be back to one lives a week, but I really wanted to make sure I shared with you guys about this boundaries program, which I put the link there. And then we have a video coming out for you guys. I held back on my just advice videos because I knew I was going to be doing so many of these lives. but we have a recorded video coming out for you guys. And it's the 3 types of people who always attract narcissists. And that is coming out when? October 2nd. When is October 2nd? Oh, comes out this Sunday. All right, so this Sunday, guys, stay tuned. Watch that video, share that video. Be sure to like it and comment. That would really help me out. All right, guys, I love you all so much. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. I'm going to go on a big hike. I just went to Monaco. I rode the train. You guys, I'm getting used to public transportation because trains actually are a bit easier to get around here. We don't have this stuff in America. So I'm still getting used to on the train coming back. I was just like, am I on the right train to get back home? I'm not really sure, but damn, I sure hope so because I have a YouTube live that I need to be home for. Yeah, I agree. Orville's like trains are great in Europe. They absolutely are. Whereas in America, we don't have that. Meher, oh, thank you so much. He says, when are you coming back to LA? I was just there for a quick work trip, and I think I will be back there in January. But yeah, so I went to the sports store and I got myself some hiking sticks and I got some hiking pants and a little jacket so that I can not freeze my butt off because the temperatures are dropping, hence why I've got this little jacket on. So yeah, we'll see how I do with this cooler weather, you guys. Living in Bali with the heat, it was what I loved. But we'll see how me in this colder weather how we do. Yes, Thomas, please. He says I need to rewatch this again. Um, yes, I'll be back. What part of the States are you in, Maher? Yes, I highly encourage you. Like those of you, if you're coming on the tail end of this, make sure that you rewatch it because it's really, really impactful in terms of how do you tangibly get a woman to respect you? Hi, Richard. So glad you're here. Oh, you're in the OC. Oh, nice. The OC is really good. I like the OC. I think if I ever had to move back to the States, obviously I would pick California. And then I would love to do either Orange County or Santa Barbara. I really like that area. I don't think that I would do LA again per se, but Orange County is gorgeous, and so is Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara, honestly, guys, I'll tell you why I want Santa Barbara because it's close to a lot of vineyards and it's close to the beach. And those are some of my favorite things in life. The ocean and wine, I mean, you just can't go wrong. I know Bali will have to be a vacation place for me now. Derek's from Central California, Fresno. I know where Fresno is. I think the world knows where Fresno is because of that situation years ago. Horrible's laughing out loud. Yeah, both. I agree, right, Maher? Both areas are super, super nice. All right, guys. Well, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Loving you all so much and can't wait to join you guys again next Monday. You guys take care and I'll see you soon. Sending you all my love. Be sure to go and get that boundaries course. Bye, guys.